The ocean hides more than just life. It hides stories that were never meant to be told. Down there, in the cold silence where sunlight never reaches, something ancient still moves. Something that's been watching the surface world for thousands of years. In part 1, we met the legends, Leviathan, Mermaid, Ryujin gods and monsters that ruled the seas. In part 2, we went deeper, face to face with horrors like the Kraken, Nāga and Lusca, creatures so terrifying. Sailors prayed never to see them, but this time, we're going beyond myth into the realm of beings. That blurred the line between spirit and nightmare. Some were worshipped as gods, others were cursed into silence, and a few might still be out there, waiting. From the serpent that circles the entire world, to a sea priest that no one could explain, these are the top 10 sea creatures from the darkest depths of mythology. Part 3, so stay till the end, because once you meet the last creature, you'll never look at the ocean the same way again. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from, and what time is it for you? Number 10. The sea monk, the holy monster of the deep in the 16th century. Fishermen off the coast of Denmark caught something that left even the church in shock. They pulled from the sea a creature that looked like a man dressed as a monk, bald head, pale skin, long arms, and a robe-like body of scales. The creature was called the sea monk, or monkfish, though this was no ordinary catch. It reportedly had human-like eyes, a mouth that seemed capable of speech, and an eerie habit of clasping its hands together as if in prayer. Terrified fishermen rushed to show the creature to local priests. But instead of celebrating a miracle, the church declared it a demonic imitation, a mockery of God's image. Some believed the sea monk was a cursed monk who had mocked the sea during a storm. Others thought it was a fallen angel trapped beneath the waves. And some naturalists insisted it might be a malformed shark, perhaps a giant ray or a squid, mistaken for something divine. Whatever it was, the body of the sea monk vanished shortly after its discovery. Some say it was buried in secret. Others whisper it walked back into the sea on its own. Since then, sailors claim that in fog-covered waters, a figure still appears. A pale monk praying just beneath the waves, watching any ship that dares to pass above. Number 9. Siguapa, the seductress from the sea. Now we travel to the Dominican Republic, where legends speak of the Siguapa, one of the strangest and most beautiful creatures said to haunt the shoreline. The Siguapa appears as a woman with dark skin, flowing hair, and one disturbing feature: her feet are backward. Fishermen who wander alone near the coast often hear soft whispers calling their names. If they follow the voice, they find a stunning woman by the water's edge, waving them closer. But once they approach, she disappears into the forest. When rescuers try to follow her tracks, they find footprints leading toward them, not away, because of her reversed feet. The trail always ends near the sea, where the sound of her laughter echoes. Some believe the Siguapa is a guardian of the ocean, punishing greedy fishermen who take more than they need. Others say she's the ghost of a drowned woman, forever luring men into the waves. Either way, the legend warns: if you ever hear a soft voice calling your name by the sea at night, don't answer. Number 8. Mu, the shape-shifting lizard goddess of Hawaii, far across the Pacific. In Hawaiian mythology lives the Mu, an enormous sea lizard that can take human form. But unlike most monsters, the Mu isn't always evil. It's a guardian spirit, ancient, wise, and dangerously unpredictable. The Mu were said to guard sacred ponds, waterfalls, and hidden caves. They could control storms, summon rain, and even predict the future. In some stories, they appear as beautiful women in shining robes, testing the courage of travelers that anger them. And they reveal their true form: a massive black-scaled lizard with jaws powerful enough to swallow a man whole. Local legends tell that even today, if someone disrespects the sea or the land, sudden storms appear out of nowhere. The old Hawaiians believed it was the MO, reminding people that the ocean doesn't forgive arrogance. And when the tide rises quickly, faster than it should, it's said the Mu is swimming beneath the waves, watching, waiting, and deciding who belongs near her waters. Number 7. Alakan, the keeper of the deep from African mythology in the spiritual traditions of West Africa. Alakan is one of the most powerful ocean deities, the ruler of the deepest part of the sea, where human eyes can't reach. Alakan represents wealth, mystery, and death, because beneath the surface, all three coexist. Those who pray to Alakan ask for prosperity, wisdom, or the strength to overcome storms. But those who anger Alakan risk madness. It's said that the god's true face cannot be seen by mortals. Anyone who glimpses it loses their mind from its beauty and terror. In art, Alakan is sometimes shown as half human, half fish, crowned with coral and pearls. But ancient tales say that beneath this form lies something far older, a being made entirely of darkness and water. Fishermen from Nigeria and Benin still tell stories of waves that rise unnaturally tall, curling into shapes like faces. They say it's Alakan breathing, reminding humans who really owns the ocean. And sometimes, when a storm passes suddenly and the sea grows calm again, it's not mercy. It's Olakin's warning. This time, I let you live. Number 6. Lingbacker, the island that eats. Now we move north, into the freezing waters of Norse legend, where sailors once feared the Lingbacker, a sea monster so huge it was often mistaken for an island. Imagine this. Your ship drifts into calm waters after days of storms. You see a patch of land ahead, quiet, covered in moss, maybe the perfect place to rest. You drop anchor, you light a fire, you let your guard down. But as the waves begin to stir, you realize the island is moving. The ground beneath you rises, tilting slowly. And before you can escape, the island opens its jaws and pulls your ship into the sea. That was the Lingbacker, the heatherback, a creature said to lure sailors to their doom. According to Icelandic sagas, it could lie motionless for days, blending perfectly with the ocean surface. Even the great Viking heroes were warned never to rest on a small island that appeared suddenly after fog. Modern scientists often explain the story as volcanic activity, floating pumice, or hallucinations caused by hunger. But the old seafarers believed differently, said they could hear breathing beneath the waves. And when they looked down into the dark water, they saw an enormous eye staring back. Closing transition for part 1. We've uncovered half of our list, from the monk who prayed beneath the sea to the island that devoured ships. But what lies ahead in part 2 takes us even deeper into myth and terror. Because the next creatures aren't just legends, they were worshipped as gods, feared as devourers, and blamed for eclipses and earthquakes. So, stay with me. In the next part, we'll meet Atargatis, the first mermaid goddess, Jenny Greenteeth, the river which that drags you down, and the colossal serpent that might one day end the world itself. Number 5. Atargatis, the first mermaid goddess long before Disney turned mermaids into fairy tales. The people of ancient Syria worshipped Atargatis, the first known mermaid goddess. She was said to be half woman, half fish, and the divine protector of the sea. But her story isn't one of beauty. It's a tragedy soaked in guilt and transformation. Atargatis was a goddess of love who fell deeply for a mortal shepherd. When he died in her arms, her grief was so overwhelming that she threw herself into a lake, hoping to drown her sorrow forever. But the waters refused to take her life. Instead, they transformed her, scales spreading across her body, her legs fusing into a single shimmering tail. Ashamed of her new form, she hid beneath the water, where she ruled the ocean for eternity. Temples were built in her honor, priests sang her hymns, and her image, a woman with the tail of a fish, became one of the most enduring symbols in human history. She was the first mermaid, the origin of a myth that spread across continents. And to this day, in some Syrian villages, when a storm hits unexpectedly, locals whisper, Atargatis is crying again. Number 4. Jenny Greenteeth, the drowned witch of the waters. In English folklore, few creatures were as feared by children as Jenny Greenteeth. She wasn't from the open ocean, but from the still, murky ponds and rivers that seemed harmless until it was too late. Jenny was described as an old woman with long green hair, rotting teeth, and skin the color of algae. She lived beneath the surface, waiting for someone foolish enough to lean too close to the water's edge. And when they did, she'd rise silently, her long arms breaking the surface to pull them under. Parents used her story to warn their children, don't play by the water, or Jenny Greenteeth will get you. But some historians believe the legend began from something darker: drowned women whose bodies were never found. Sailors claimed that Jenny's laughter could be heard on quiet nights when the river was calm, echoing just before someone went missing. Today, if you see pondweed floating thick across a still lake, locals in northern England say Jenny's brushing her hair, and if you ever hear a splash when no one's around, run. Number 3. Bakunawa, the sea serpent that eats the moon. From the Philippines comes one of the most powerful legends of all, the Bakunawa, a gigantic serpent of the sea that could swallow the moon itself. Long ago, there were 7 moons in the sky, lighting up the world every night. But the Bakunawa, living deep beneath the ocean, was fascinated by their beauty. It rose from the sea, opened its enormous jaws, and swallowed one, then another, until only 1 moon remained. Terrified, the people began to bang drums, shout prayers, and throw spears into the sky, hoping to scare the serpent away. It worked. The Bakunawa spat out the moon and the light returned. But every lunar eclipse, when the moon disappears behind shadow, they say the serpent is trying again. Even now, some Filipino villages still perform old rituals during eclipses, banging pots and making noise to drive away Bakunawa. To them, it's not myth, it's protection. It's because the serpent hasn't been defeated, only waiting beneath the sea, hungry for its next chance. Number 2. Selkie, the seal that became a woman. Now we move to the cold waters of Scotland and Ireland, where the waves hide one of the most haunting sea creatures of all, the Selkie. According to Celtic legend, Selkies are seals that can shed their skins to become human women. They emerge from the sea under the light of the moon, dancing on the shore, graceful, silent, and heartbreakingly beautiful. But their magic lies in their seal skin. If a man steals it, the Selkie is trapped on land, unable to return to the sea. Many old tales tell of fishermen who found these skins and hid them, forcing the Selkies to become their wives. But though they bore children and lived on land, their eyes were always sad, staring toward the horizon. One day, they'd find their hidden skin, and the moment they did, they'd run back to the waves, never to return. Even today, locals in the Shetland Islands claim that when a seal looks at you too long, it might not be a seal at all. It might be someone who once loved you long ago, a Selkie, watching you from the water. Number 1. Jarmangander, the world serpent. And now we come to the most colossal creature in all of sea mythology. Jarmangander, the world serpent of Norse legend. Born from the trickster god Loki and the giantess Angrboda, Jarmangander was cast into the ocean by Odin himself, but it didn't drown. It grew and grew until its body circled the entire world, biting its own tail beneath the waves. That's why it is called Midgard-ass serpent, the creature that encircles the earth. It is said that when Jarmangander releases its tail, the world will end. This event, known as Ragnarok, will begin with the serpent rising from the sea, spewing venom that poisons the sky and floods the land. During this final battle, Thor, the god of thunder, will face Jarmangander. Thor will strike the serpent with his hammer, killing it. The myth of Jarmangander is one of balance, destruction that completes the cycle of creation. But some believe this tale might have roots in something real. Ancient sailors describing enormous oceanic creatures, perhaps giant eels or whales, mistaken for a serpent large enough to wrap around the world. And when modern scientists map the ocean floor, finding massive trenches shaped like spirals, the old stories whisper again. Maybe Jarmangander never died. Maybe it still sleeps beneath the sea. From the Selkie's tragic love to the Bakunawa's hunger for the moon, and the world serpent that could end the earth itself, these myths all share one warning. The ocean is not ours. Across every culture, the sea is both life and death, creation and destruction, beauty and terror. And perhaps that's why these legends endure. Because even today, with submarines and satellites, there are places in the ocean that no human has ever seen. So who's to say what still lives down there in the dark, waiting to rise again? If you've made it this far, you've now traveled through 3 full parts of the world's greatest sea legends, from Leviathan to Kraken, and now to Jarmangander himself. But the sea still holds more.